Hey everyone, Ryan here. Last night I saw the Project Hail Mary movie with my fiance. We went and saw it in IMAX in a theater here in town, and I just want to share my thoughts on both the movie and the book. I'll quickly go over the book. Overall, I thought the book was fantastic. I personally read the book through an audiobook while I was on a camping trip, and I flew past it. The Ray Porter does a phenomenal job with all the narrations and the audiobook itself, and the story in the book format is just phenomenal. So if you haven't had the opportunity to read the book and you haven't seen the movie yet, I definitely recommend just stopping this video now and going ahead and reading the book. Definitely read the book before you go see the movie. It's such a great story. So let's now talk about the movie. If the book for me was a 10 out of 10, I'd give the movie a 7 out of 10. And this is in particular for one reason. It's mainly just the screenplay adaptation from book to movie. Um, there's a few main things that were lost in translating the book to the movie. And I'll get to that in a little bit more detail during the spoiler section of this talk. Uh, but in general, the movie was great. It did capture most of the story and the heart of the journey. Um, and I thought itself, the everything else around the movie, the casting, the production, the cinematography, the sound effects, the practical effects, the puppetry, the music score, everything was phenomenal and was definitely a very well made movie compared to all the other movies that are being released as of in the past like 5 years or so. It definitely stands out in its own that it's a high quality movie, and there was a lot of love and passion from the team that made it. So let's talk a little bit more now with the spoiler section. I'm going to discuss some spoilers now to get a little bit more in detail about my thoughts regarding the movie. So as I mentioned earlier, the main thing that bothered me was the screenplay adaptation. There was two main things missing when they adapted this from book to movie that they didn't capture in the screenplay, and I think one of those things was the severity of the situation on Earth with the astrophage. I think the that was not conveyed as well in the movie. In the book, they did such a great job, especially in the flashback scenes, showing how much damage was going to be caused by the astrophage and the lessening of the dimness of the sun. I think what they could have done in the movie to really help show this would have been to just add one more flashback scene where they bring on board the scientist and they go ahead and nuke Antarctica. And that's part of their plan to release a large um, emission of CO2 into the Earth's atmosphere to induce a global warming effect to give them a few more years of leverage before the climate change drops dramatically due to the sun dimming. So I think that would have been a great addition to the movie if they added that scene to help really show the impact the astrophage was going to have. I feel like they just really kind of rushed through it, and you had to read between the lines to understand the severity of the situation. So I think that would have helped dramatically to know what Ryland's purpose and how critical it was that him and Rocky saved both Earth and Arid. Um, and then the other thing that really impacted, I think, the screenplay was just the pacing. I think the pacing of the different scenes really had a negative impact on the movie. Um, some of the things I can think of are, in particular, there was one scene towards the end of the movie where Rocky and um, Rylan have captured the predator, the Talmiba. When Rocky and Ryland go their separate ways back to their respective planets, the Talmiba escapes and eats all the astrophage on Rocky's rocket, on Rocky's ship, and most of the astrophage on Ryland's ship. Um, I think what could have benefited here is just slowing down that scene in particular, um, and really showing what's going on, understanding that this was caused by the breeding this was what needed to be done, the dire consequences. I think it wasn't really highlighted in the movie that Rocky was um, really just stuck and floating out there, and you know, going to die due to radiation or starvation on his ship if Ryland didn't come back to him. And I think that was another thing missing too, was during this pacing issue, was they didn't give, in the book they did such a great job of having Ryland have this inner battle within himself to decide if does he go back to Earth and save himself, or does he go back and save Rocky. And I think that was a really critical point in the book, and that was missed in the movie. That was the pivotal point, at least on Ryland's end, that showed his companionship with Rocky. Another thing I thought that they missed when adapting this from book to movie, that they kind of missed in the screenplay, was um, really showing Rocky and Ryland's relationship, the bond that they have developed over the many months and even years that they spent together working on this problem. I think that was missed in the movie, showing how strong their relationship was. That I can't fully attribute to the screenplay adaptation itself. I think that's mainly just a consequence of the format. Is that it's just a movie. There's only so much time you can dedicate towards separate scenes, and they really had to hit the main plot point. So I'm not holding this against the movie. I just think that was something lost in that would have been hard to translate from book to movie. And it was a little sad to see and not fully get, because I think the heart of this story, Project Hail Mary, is really, it's a story about companionship, and it's about Rocky and Ryland's companionship and achieving overcoming impossible odds together through teamwork and collaboration and just friendship. So I think that was missed in the movie. It wasn't really highlighted enough. So, but again, I can't really blame that fully on the movie. It's something hard to do in a short media format like a movie, compared to a much longer media format like a book. And the last thing I want to talk about negatively about the movie um, was really just about Strauss. I don't like the changes that they made to her in the movie. In the book, she's such a strong leader who won't take no for an answer. This was partially captured in the movie, but they made her a lot softer in the movie. She was the whole karaoke scene was just ridiculous. We lost about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of screen time for different scenes in the book for karaoke. I think that was unnecessary and out of character for Strauss. And I would have loved to see something else. Like I mentioned before, maybe the Antarctica scene. I think that would have been a great replacement instead of the karaoke scene. Um, Additionally, I think with Strauss, with her towards the end, getting emotional and crying for Ryland, and pretty much kind of apologizing, but still moving forward with the inducing the coma and the amnesia, and forcing him on the Project Hail Mary. That was out of character too. In the book, Strauss was very much, she would do whatever it took to succeed in Project Hail Mary. Didn't matter. She was very vocal about, in her private conversations with Ryland, that she did have political immunity across the whole world to achieve this project. And she knew as soon as it was accomplished, she would likely be persecuted by all these different governments and spend the rest of her life in jail, but she would be satisfied knowing that she achieved what she was set out to do. So her getting a little bit emotional with Ryland when she's inducing the amnesia and the coma, that was out of character for her. She was such a strong leader uh, that was just missed. So it would have been nice to have a strong leader, especially as a woman, really shown in the movie as it was in the book. So that was my one disappointment with the character. adaptation in the movie. But now getting on to the positive side, some positives that I liked from the movie was I liked the change with Carl, the security guard. I thought that was nice, giving him some screen time, giving him more of a relationship with Ryland. That was really nice. The whole Lowe's Home Depot scene where they're in the hardware store picking up items for their thing. That was a nice touch. I liked it. I liked that addition. And some other things I liked from the movie was I really liked the Rocky design. You could tell it was not CGI. This was definitely puppetry. Felt very real on the screen. Rocky felt very real, and he felt he was there with Ryan Gosling in the actual set, which he was. And it really showed, and it really helped the movie doing these practical effects. So I really appreciated that. Something else I definitely enjoyed was just the cinematography and the soundtrack and the music as a whole. In particular, my favorite scene in the movie was the scene where Rylan and Rocky go to the planet Adrian, where the predators, the Talamoeba, are living. And when they go to capture them, that whole sequence of Rylan doing the spacewalk to go get the carrier for that they caught when they went fishing for the Talamoeba, bringing it back on the spaceship, the whole sequence of trying to leave the orbit and Rocky saving Rylan and getting everything back into centrifuge with gravity. I thought that was beautiful. That was my favorite scene in the movie. Very emotional. You can feel the impact that um, of that scene of all the emotions that you could feel between Rylan and Rocky. I thought that was really well done. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. And one last thing I want to mention was I was getting back to a negative point. I was a little disappointed with the ending. Um, like I mentioned before, the adaptation with the screenplay from book to movie with the pacing, I didn't. I would have appreciated if they slowed down a little bit more when they had I mentioned before when they where Island was making the decision between going back to Earth or going back to save Rocky. That would have definitely helped a lot. And I think that whole deliberation scene was cut short in particular to suit the ending that they slightly changed. They try to do a fake out where instead of it just being known that Rylan was set on his choice to go to Arid and live his life there, they try to do a fake out where it seemed like Rylan and Rocky ended up on Earth, and that's what they were trying to push and make it seem like. So they could do the fake out that Rylan's actually on Arid and he keeps the kids. I didn't like that fake out. It really lessened the impact of Rylan's choice and his sacrifice to save Rocky and to save Arid. So I didn't like that they really cut out that really character piece for Ryland just to get a slight fake out at the end for the audience. It just didn't work for me. I didn't like it, and um, it would have been much stronger if they had done it more like the book, where it was a little bit slower. You get Ryland's inner monologue about his decision making. Does he go back to Earth? Does he go back home, or does he sacrifice his life to go save Rocky in his world? So yeah, those are the main things I took away from Project Hail Mary, the movie. It's definitely good. I know I said a lot of negative things, but these were just all thoughts that I had after the movie that I wanted to highlight for book readers going into the movie. I was definitely a little disappointed leaving the movie, so that's why I'm kind of highlighting all my disappointments. This really could have came out to be a really great movie if they just took a little bit more time with the screenplay adaptation. But overall, it was great. Like I mentioned before, 7 out of 10, pretty solid movie. And yeah, if you somehow haven't read the book yet, listen to the audiobook, definitely give it a try. Definitely recommend it. It was one of my favorite books of last year and of all time. So would definitely highly recommend. So yeah, that's all. I just thank you guys for your time and hope you guys enjoy Project Hail Mary. Thank you.